Imagine you are standing in the middle of a crowded street. Everywhere you look, people are rushing by heads down, lost in their phones, constantly checking messages, emails, or the latest social media updates. The noise is overwhelming. Cars honk, people talk, and there's a constant flood of information coming at you from every direction. You feel a sense of pressure, as though you must keep up, keep moving, and never slow down. Does this sound familiar? It's a reality many of us face daily in our modern world. Do you ever feel like you're caught in an endless cycle of demands and distractions? Are you constantly juggling work, family, and the never-ending stream of notifications that keep pulling you in every direction? Does it feel like the harder you try to find peace, the further it slips away? Now, take a moment. Close your eyes, breathe deeply, and think about how it would feel to step away from all this chaos. Imagine finding a sense of peace amidst the whirlwind of modern life, where your mind is calm and your heart is light. This is what Buddhism teaches us to cultivate: inner peace in a world that often feels too loud, too fast, and too much. Welcome to Wisdom Woven, a space where we explore ways to bring peace and calm into our lives, no matter the chaos around us. In this series, we'll dive deep into Buddhist wisdom, offering simple, transformative insights that can help you navigate the noise of the modern world with a steady, peaceful mind. There are so many views on this channel, but only 0.2% subscribed. So, please, like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel. We'd love to hear your thoughts, so please drop them in the comments below. Your journey towards peace starts here. As we begin this journey together, let's take a closer look at how we can cultivate peace, even when everything around us seems to be falling apart. Stay with us, and let's explore the Buddhist way to transform chaos into calm. The roots of suffering, understanding dukkha in everyday life. When we wake up every morning, we are often greeted with a sense of rushing. The world doesn't stop for us, and as we step into the day, it feels like we're already behind. The pressures, the responsibilities, and the demands of life all seem to pile on. Have you ever stopped to wonder why this is? Why, despite our best efforts, do we often feel like something is always missing? This feeling of dissatisfaction, of never being fully content, is what the Buddha called dukkha. Dukkha is often translated as suffering, but that doesn't fully capture its meaning. It refers to the deep-seated unease we all experience, the quiet frustration that lives beneath the surface of our daily lives. It's not just the big, obvious forms of suffering, like grief or pain, but also the subtler, everyday discomforts. It's the uneasiness that comes when we are not fully present, when we feel torn between the past and the future, when we are caught up in worry or desire. Take a moment to think about your life. How many times have you felt that something was lacking? How often do you feel like you're reaching for something just out of your grasp? Maybe it's the perfect job, the right relationship, or even just a peaceful moment. And yet, no matter how much we strive, we often find ourselves still yearning for more, for something different, for something better. This is dukkha, the dissatisfaction that is woven into the fabric of our existence. The Buddha taught that dukkha is a natural part of life, something we cannot avoid. It is not something to be afraid of, but something to understand. In fact, it's the first of the Four Noble Truths, the first step on the path to inner peace. The reality of dukkha is something we all face, whether we acknowledge it or not. But by recognizing it, we can begin to break free from its grip. Think about the times when you've experienced frustration, stress, or even simple disappointment. Perhaps you were working hard towards a goal, and no matter what you did, you never felt truly satisfied. Or maybe you thought that achieving something, like owning a new car or getting a promotion, would finally bring you happiness, only to realize that the happiness didn't last as long as you hoped. This is the nature of dukkha. In our modern lives, the sense of dukkha often comes from our attachments. We get attached to our ideas, to our possessions, to the way we want things to be. We cling to our expectations, believing that if we can control life, we will find peace. But this clinging is what causes our suffering. It's as if we are holding on to a rope that's tied to a weight, and the tighter we grip it, the more it drags us down. The Buddha didn't just tell us about dukkha, he also explained the cause of it. He taught that the root of suffering lies in our attachment to things, our desire for them, in our refusal to let go. Our desire for pleasure, our fear of pain, and our inability to accept impermanence keep us bound in a cycle of dissatisfaction. We long for things to stay the same, but nothing ever does. The very nature of life is change. The more we try to hold on to something, whether it's a moment of happiness, a relationship, or even our youth, the more we set ourselves up for disappointment when that thing inevitably changes or fades away. But understanding dukkha is not meant to make us feel hopeless. On the contrary, it's the first step in breaking free from suffering. If we can acknowledge that dissatisfaction is a part of life, we can start to make choices that reduce our attachment and our clinging. We can begin to look at life with a sense of openness, acceptance, and even curiosity. When we stop expecting life to be something it's not, we free ourselves from the constant cycle of frustration. Take, for example, a simple situation like waiting for a bus. We often feel frustrated if the bus is late, or if it doesn't arrive exactly when we want it to. Our impatience and irritation are a direct result of our expectations. We want things to happen on our terms, when we want them. But if we can learn to let go of our attachment to this specific outcome, we can be at peace. Instead of focusing on what isn't going according to plan, we can simply accept the situation as it is, knowing that it will pass in time. This is not to say we should become passive or indifferent. It's not about giving up on life or accepting suffering without any effort to change things. It's about finding balance. It's about recognizing when our attachment is causing unnecessary pain and learning to let go. The Buddha didn't teach us to stop desiring or to stop working towards goals. Rather, he taught us to examine our desires and see if they are rooted in attachment. Are we chasing after something because we believe it will bring us lasting happiness? Or are we simply enjoying the journey and allowing things to unfold naturally? When we begin to see our attachments for what they are, we can start to detach from them, not in the sense of abandoning them, but in the sense of no longer letting them control us. This is the path to inner peace. It's not about escaping the world or retreating from life's challenges. It's about facing them with an open heart and mind, knowing that we are not defined by our desires or our circumstances. Imagine a tree standing strong in a storm. The winds blow, the rain falls, and yet the tree remains rooted, its branches swaying but not breaking. This is how we can approach life. We don't need to fight against the winds of change, nor do we need to hold on to things that are fleeting. We can stand firm in our understanding of dukkha, knowing that suffering is a part of life, but it doesn't have to control us. The more we understand dukkha, the less we are controlled by it. We begin to accept life's challenges with grace, knowing that everything good and bad will eventually pass. Our suffering comes not from the circumstances themselves, but from our resistance to them. When we stop resisting, we open ourselves to peace. Understanding dukkha doesn't make the world perfect, but it allows us to live more peacefully within it. Instead of fighting against life, we can start to flow with it. And in that flow, we find true peace. Seeing clearly, embracing the Four Noble Truths. Imagine you are holding a cup of tea in your hands. You can feel the warmth of it, smell the comforting scent, and take a sip, savoring the taste. But what happens when you are distracted, rushing through your day? The tea becomes something to swallow in haste, no different from any other task. The warmth fades away unnoticed, the taste lost in the whirlwind of your thoughts. Now, imagine being fully present in that moment. The warmth of the tea, the aroma, the stillness in your hands, all become a source of peace. This simple moment is what Buddhism encourages us to embrace, to see the world clearly and live fully in each moment. Life, as we know it, is often filled with noise, distractions, and struggles. We are constantly pulled in different directions, trying to meet deadlines, take care of responsibilities, and manage the ever-growing list of demands from the world around us. This constant pull leaves us feeling exhausted and overwhelmed. It's easy to feel like there's no way out, like we're trapped in a cycle of worry, stress, and frustration. But in the heart of Buddhism, there is a simple yet profound teaching that can help us break free from this cycle: the Four Noble Truths. The Four Noble Truths are not abstract concepts or teachings locked away in ancient scriptures. They are practical truths that help us understand our own suffering and, more importantly, show us how to end it. The first of these truths is the reality of suffering, known in Buddhism as dukkha. It's not a word that only refers to pain or misery. It encompasses all the ways in which we feel unsatisfied or incomplete in life. It could be the frustration of wanting something and not getting it, or the sadness that comes with the passing of time. Dukkha is not something we can avoid because it's part of being human. The Buddha taught us that suffering is an inherent part of life, but that doesn't mean we must accept it as something permanent. The second truth reveals the cause of suffering, our cravings and attachments. We long for things we don't have, and we struggle to hold on to things that are slipping away. We attach ourselves to ideas, people, possessions, and even emotions, believing that they will bring us happiness. But the reality is, everything is impermanent. When we cling to things, we only increase our suffering. This attachment is what keeps us on a never-ending cycle of desire and disappointment. Imagine holding on to something tightly, only to watch it slip through your fingers. That's what happens when we hold on to our desires. The third noble truth brings hope. It tells us that suffering can end. This is the path to liberation. It's not about escaping life's challenges or finding a quick fix. It's about letting go of the things that bind us. When we stop clinging to desires and attachments, we begin to experience freedom. This doesn't mean we stop caring or living fully. It means we stop being ruled by our attachments. True peace comes when we embrace life as it is, without constantly seeking to change or control it. And the fourth noble truth is the path to end suffering, which the Buddha called the Eightfold Path. This path is not a rigid set of rules, but a guide to living a life that leads to inner peace. It's a path of wisdom, ethical conduct, and mental discipline. Through right understanding, right intention, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration, we begin to align ourselves with the truth of how life works. These are not separate tasks. They work together to transform how we see the world, how we respond to challenges, and how we live in harmony with others. In the busyness of our daily lives, it's easy to forget that these truths are already available to us. The Buddhist teachings are not meant to be understood only by monks or spiritual seekers. They are for everyone. The Four Noble Truths are a way to see clearly the root causes of our struggles and a way to break free from them. They show us that our suffering is not something to fear, but something to understand and address. They invite us to wake up to the present moment, to stop chasing fleeting desires, and to start living with awareness and compassion. Now, think back to that cup of tea. When you were fully present in the moment, you are practicing the wisdom of the Buddha. You are seeing life clearly, not as a series of problems to be solved, but as a flow of experiences to be embraced. The Four Noble Truths teach us that suffering is not something we need to run from. It is a part of our human journey, and by understanding it, we can move through it with grace and peace. Take a moment to reflect. What are the things in your life that you cling to? What are the attachments that cause you pain? Can you let go of some of them? The path to inner peace is not about achieving perfection. It's about understanding, releasing, and embracing each moment with awareness. The more we practice seeing clearly, the more we open ourselves to the possibility of true peace. The Four Noble Truths are a powerful foundation for anyone seeking inner peace. They offer a way to transform our experience of the world, not by changing the world around us, but by changing how we relate to it. They show us that we can move from suffering to freedom, from confusion to clarity, and from chaos to calm. And the best part is, the path to peace is available to us right now, in this moment. In the coming parts of this series, we'll explore how to apply these teachings in daily life, how to practice mindfulness, and how to walk the Eightfold Path with ease. For now, take a deep breath, sit with the Four Noble Truths, and begin to reflect on how they resonate in your own life. Are you ready to start seeing more clearly? Walking the path, the eightfold way to calm and clarity. In the midst of life's complexities, we often find ourselves searching for meaning, longing for peace. But how do we get there? Where do we begin, when everything around us seems to be moving so fast, so recklessly? The Buddha, in his deep wisdom, offered a simple path, one that leads to a life of balance, clarity, and lasting peace. This path is called the Eightfold Path, and it is a guide that can help us navigate the chaos of modern life. The Eightfold Path is not just a set of rules or instructions. It is a way of living, a way of thinking, and a way of being that can transform our everyday experience. Each step on the path helps us shed the layers of confusion, stress, and attachment that cloud our minds. As we walk this path, we move closer to the calm center of our being, a place of stillness and clarity. First, let's talk about right understanding. This is where the journey begins. It means understanding the true nature of life and our place in it. It's about seeing things as they really are, beyond our opinions and judgments. Life is full of challenges, but understanding that suffering, or dukkha, is a part of life helps us approach these moments with compassion and wisdom. Right understanding is about embracing the fact that everything changes. Nothing is permanent. When we deeply understand this, we begin to let go of the things that cause us pain. Next, we have right intention. This is the mindset we cultivate as we walk the path. It's about having the intention to live in harmony with others, to act with kindness and compassion, and to avoid causing harm. Right intention helps us align our actions with our deepest values. It encourages us to be kind not just to others, but to ourselves as well. Every action we take should be rooted in the desire to create peace, not conflict, to build connections, not walls. Then comes right speech. We all know how powerful words can be. They have the ability to heal, but they also have the power to harm. Right speech encourages us to speak with truth, kindness, and compassion. It's about avoiding lies, gossip, and harsh words that only create tension and misunderstandings. When we speak with intention and care, we create a space for peace and understanding to grow. Right action follows naturally from right speech. It is the practice of living in a way that is ethical, kind, and responsible. Right action means acting in a way that doesn't cause harm to others, whether through physical actions or words. It means choosing actions that contribute to the well-being of others and ourselves. Every decision, no matter how small, can be an opportunity to act with compassion. Next is right livelihood. This step encourages us to think about the work we do and how it impacts others. Right livelihood is about choosing a profession or way of making a living that doesn't harm others or exploit them. It's about finding work that is aligned with our values, where we can serve others, contribute positively to society, and live in a way that supports our well-being. It asks us to reflect on how our work can promote peace, balance, and respect. Then comes right effort. This step is about cultivating the energy to move forward on the path, despite the challenges that come our way. Right effort is the practice of putting in the work, staying disciplined, and not giving up when things get hard. It's about being persistent in our efforts to improve our minds, our hearts, and our actions. Change doesn't happen overnight, but with consistent effort, we begin to see the fruits of our labor. Right effort teaches us to be patient with ourselves as we grow. Right mindfulness is another important step on the Eightfold Path. It's about being fully present in each moment, noticing what is happening around us without judgment. Right mindfulness helps us pay attention to our thoughts, feelings, and actions without getting caught up in them. When we practice mindfulness, we can step back from our reactions and view situations with clarity and understanding. We can observe the ebb and flow of our thoughts without becoming attached to them. This brings a deep sense of peace and presence. Finally, we have right concentration. This is the practice of training our minds to focus deeply, without distraction. Right concentration is about developing a calm, clear mind that can remain steady, no matter what is happening around us. Through meditation and other practices, we can learn to concentrate our attention in such a way that we are not easily swayed by external circumstances. Right concentration brings stillness to the mind and allows us to experience true peace. The Eightfold Path is a guide for living, but it is not something we achieve all at once. It is a gradual process, a way of unfolding and growing. As we begin to practice these principles in our daily lives, we start to see the world differently. We become more patient, more kind, and more aware of our thoughts and actions. With each step, we get closer to the peace we seek, and the chaos of the world becomes less and less overwhelming. One of the most powerful aspects of the Eightfold Path is that it is within our reach. No matter where we are in life, no matter how difficult our circumstances may be, The path is available to us. It is a path that doesn't require perfection or mastery. It simply requires that we begin. And as we take that first step, we begin to change not just our minds, but our hearts as well. In today's world, it can often feel like peace is out of reach. We're constantly pulled in 1,000 different directions, and our minds are filled with noise. But the Buddhist teachings remind us that peace is not something we find outside ourselves. It is something we cultivate within. The Eightfold Path is the way to that peace. It is the way to live a life that is not controlled by external forces, but by an inner calm that comes from within. As we continue on this journey together, remember that the path is not about reaching some distant destination. It is about the journey itself. Each step you take is a step toward greater peace, greater wisdom, and greater compassion. Every moment is an opportunity to practice, to deepen your understanding, and to walk closer to the life of peace that the Buddha spoke of. So, take a deep breath, and let the Eightfold Path guide you. With each step you take, you'll find that the world around you begins to soften. The noise of the world becomes less urgent, and the calm within you grows stronger. This is the way of the Buddha, the way of peace. The art of mindfulness, returning to the present moment. Imagine for a moment that you're sitting in a peaceful garden. The sun is gently warming your face, and a soft breeze rustles the leaves around you. The air is filled with the scent of flowers and the sounds of birds singing. You close your eyes and take a deep breath, feeling completely at ease in this moment. But then, your mind begins to wander. You start thinking about the tasks waiting for you at home, the work piling up, and the worries about the future. Before you know it, the peaceful garden fades into the background, and you're once again caught up in the whirlwind of your thoughts. This is a common experience for many of us. We want to feel calm, centered, and connected to the present moment, but our minds constantly pull us away. We think about the past, worry about the future, and often find ourselves distracted by things that don't truly matter. In Buddhism, this is known as the mind's natural tendency to wander, or what we call monkey mind. But there's a way to break free from this cycle and return to the peace of the present moment through mindfulness. Mindfulness, simply put, is the practice of paying attention to what is happening right now, without judgment or distraction. It's about being fully aware of your thoughts, feelings, and surroundings in the present moment. In a world that's constantly pulling us in every direction, mindfulness offers a way to slow down and connect with what truly matters. It's about learning to observe, rather than react, to the world around us. One of the simplest ways to practice mindfulness is through the breath. Take a deep breath right now. Feel the air enter your body, fill your lungs, and then slowly exhale. With each breath, you bring your awareness back to the present moment. It's so simple, yet so powerful. Whenever your mind starts to wander, you can always return to your breath. It's a grounding tool that helps you stay connected to the here and now. Mindfulness isn't just something we practice during meditation. It's something we can carry with us throughout the day. Imagine you're washing dishes. Instead of thinking about everything you have to do next, you focus on the sensation of the water on your hands, the sound of the dishes clinking, the warmth of the soap. You become fully present in that task. This simple act of mindfulness can transform even the most mundane activities into moments of peace. As we go about our busy lives, we often forget to truly experience the present moment. We get so caught up in what's next that we miss what's happening right now. Mindfulness helps us to stop, take a breath, and appreciate the moment for what it is. It helps us to slow down, step away from the constant rush, and find a sense of calm in the chaos. But mindfulness is not just about relaxation. It's about being present with our emotions, thoughts, and experiences, both positive and negative. It's about being honest with ourselves, acknowledging how we feel, and letting those feelings pass without judgment. When we practice mindfulness, we begin to see that thoughts and feelings come and go, like clouds in the sky. They don't define us. We don't have to hold on to them. We can simply observe and let them pass. This practice of mindfulness can be life-changing. It allows us to respond to life with more clarity and less reactivity. When we're mindful, we can choose how to respond to situations instead of simply reacting out of habit. Instead of feeling overwhelmed by stress or anger, we can pause, breathe, and respond with calm and understanding. This doesn't mean that we won't experience difficult emotions, but it does mean that we can face them with greater ease and resilience. The more we practice mindfulness, the more we begin to notice the beauty and peace that already exists around us. It's in the quiet moments between tasks, the stillness of early morning, the laughter of a friend, or the simple joy of sipping a cup of tea. These moments are always there, but we often miss them because we're too caught up in the rush of life. Mindfulness helps us to reconnect with our true selves. It helps us to be more present with the people around us, to listen more deeply, to speak with more intention, and to act with more kindness. It teaches us that peace is not something we have to search for, but something we can create in each moment. The more we practice mindfulness, the more we cultivate a sense of inner peace. We become less attached to our thoughts and emotions, and we begin to see things as they are, without the layers of judgment and expectation that often cloud our perception. In this way, mindfulness leads us to a deeper understanding of ourselves in the world around us. As we continue our journey towards inner peace, remember that mindfulness is not a goal to be achieved. In Buddhism, this practice of letting go is known as non-clinging. It's about recognizing that our attachment to material things, status, or even our own identities can become a prison. The more we identify with these external things, the more we lose sight of who we truly are. We become attached to the idea of me and mine, the possessions we own, the roles we play, the labels we wear. And in doing so, we create suffering for ourselves. Letting go is not always easy. It's human nature to want to hold on to things that make us feel safe, secure, or validated. But the truth is, the more we cling, the more we suffer. Our attachments create a false sense of stability. The moment something changes or is taken away, we feel unsettled. This is why Buddhism teaches us to cultivate a sense of detachment, not from the world, but from our need to control it. The idea of non-clinging is not about withdrawing from life or avoiding emotional connections. It's about being present without holding on to expectations or outcomes. It's about loving without attachment, working without expectation, and living without the need to control every aspect of life. This doesn't mean you stop caring or stop engaging. It means you engage fully without clinging to the results. For example, think about a tree in the wind. The tree doesn't try to fight the breeze or hold on to the leaves that fall. It bends with the wind, and when the leaves are ready to fall, they do so naturally. The tree doesn't resist. It simply allows the natural course of life to unfold. If the tree held on too tightly, it would break. But by letting go, it stays rooted and strong. In the same way, we can learn to let go of our attachments and still remain rooted in the present moment. We can still care, still love, and still engage in life, but without the constant fear of losing what we hold dear. This is the essence of liberation. Liberation comes not from holding on to what we think we need, but from letting go of our attachment to it. When we let go, we are no longer bound by the past, by our desires, or by our fears of the future. But how do we practice letting go in our everyday lives? It starts with mindfulness. By being present in each moment, we can observe our attachments without judgment. Notice the things that cause you stress, anxiety, or frustration. Are these things really essential to your happiness? Or are they simply attachments that you've created over time? When you can recognize these attachments, you begin to see how they limit your freedom. Another way to practice letting go is by learning to forgive. Holding on to grudges or past hurts only ties us to negative emotions. Forgiveness doesn't mean condoning bad behavior, but it means releasing the hold that anger, resentment, or bitterness have on us. When we forgive, we free ourselves from the chains of the past and open ourselves to peace. Sometimes, letting go means saying goodbye. This might be the hardest part of detachment. Letting go of relationships, jobs, or even dreams we've had for years can feel painful. But remember, every goodbye opens the door to new beginnings. Sometimes, we have to let go of the old to make room for the new. The universe has a way of bringing us what we need, but we must be willing to release what no longer serves us. Letting go also involves letting go of our own expectations. We often live with a mental checklist of how life should be. We expect things to go a certain way, and when they don't, we feel disappointed or frustrated. But life is unpredictable. It doesn't always follow the path we envision. By letting go of our rigid expectations, we can embrace the flow of life as it is, without resistance. One of the most powerful forms of letting go is to surrender control. We often try to control everything around us, our circumstances, other people, our futures. But the truth is, we can't control everything. We can only control how we respond. By surrendering control, we allow life to unfold in its own time and in its own way. This doesn't mean giving up. It means trusting the process and allowing life to lead us where we need to go. The practice of letting go is also about embracing impermanence. In Buddhism, everything is seen as temporary: our thoughts, our emotions, our experiences, and our lives themselves. This doesn't mean life is meaningless. It means that life is precious precisely because it is fleeting. When we understand that everything is temporary, we learn to appreciate each moment without clinging to it. The practice of letting go brings profound peace. It frees us from the burden of attachment, allowing us to live with greater clarity and freedom. When we stop clinging to things, we stop living in fear of losing them. We begin to understand that true happiness does not come from external possessions or achievements, but from inner freedom and contentment. This doesn't mean we stop caring about the people and things that matter to us. On the contrary, we can love more deeply, work more joyfully, and live more fully when we release our attachments. Because when we let go of the need to control, we make space for the natural flow of life to guide us. We find that true peace doesn't come from holding on, but from letting go. As you move forward, remember that the practice of letting go is not a one-time event. It's a lifelong process. Every day presents new opportunities to release attachments and embrace the freedom that comes with non-clinging. With each step, you move closer to the liberation that comes from living in harmony with the world instead of resisting it. In the end, letting go is the key to inner peace. By letting go of the things that no longer serve us, whether they are material possessions, past experiences, or even our own fears, we open ourselves to the fullness of life. When we release, we are free, and in that freedom, we find peace. Compassion in action, softening the heart in a harsh world. In the heart of every person, there lies a seed of compassion. It's not something we need to search for or wait for. It's already there. Just like the sun is always shining behind the clouds, compassion is always present, even when it feels hidden or buried under layers of anger, fear, or stress. Compassion is the natural response to suffering, the impulse to ease pain when we see it, and to stand beside others in their moments of need. But in the whirlwind of modern life, where distractions are constant, where judgments fly easily, and where it's so easy to close off from the world around us, how can we let that compassion grow and guide us? You see, in Buddhism, compassion is not just a feeling. It is an action. It is how we respond to the world, not just the people we love, but to everyone and everything we encounter. It's the way we interact with strangers, the way we look at those who disagree with us, and even how we treat ourselves in our weakest moments. Compassion is not something we can simply think about or wish for. It's something we practice. It's easy to show compassion to those who are kind to us, to those who care for us, or even to those who love us. But how often do we show compassion to those who hurt us, or to those whose actions seem to frustrate us? That's where the real challenge lies. Compassion is tested in the moments when we feel hurt or misunderstood. It's in those times that we need to remind ourselves that everyone is carrying some burden. Everyone is facing their own struggles, whether we see them or not. The Buddha teaches that suffering is universal. It touches everyone, whether rich or poor, young or old. healthy or ill. When we encounter suffering, we are not just looking at someone else's problem. We are witnessing a shared human experience. The more we understand this interconnectedness, the more we realize that the suffering of another is, in a way, our suffering too. When we open our hearts to others, when we allow ourselves to feel what they feel, that is where compassion begins to flow. But how do we practice compassion when the world feels harsh? How do we soften our hearts when it feels like the world is making us hard? The answer lies in understanding that compassion begins with ourselves. We cannot offer compassion to others if we do not first show it to ourselves. So often, we are our own harshest critics. We blame ourselves for our mistakes, our failures, our perceived shortcomings. We expect perfection from ourselves, which only leads to frustration and self-judgment. True compassion begins with the ability to forgive ourselves. It's about being kind to ourselves when we falter, when we stumble, and when we don't meet our own expectations. This is where it starts, a gentle and loving approach to our own suffering. Only when we can offer this to ourselves can we extend the same kindness to others. And when we practice compassion for ourselves, we can begin to see the world differently. Instead of reacting with frustration, anger, or judgment, we respond with understanding. We don't just look at others and think, why are they acting this way? We ask ourselves, what are they going through? Compassion softens the heart. It allows us to open up, to stop closing ourselves off from others. It's easy to put up walls when we feel threatened, when we're afraid of being hurt. But when we allow ourselves to feel compassion, those walls begin to come down. We no longer need to defend ourselves at all costs. Instead, we begin to listen to others, to their stories, to their pain. And when we listen with an open heart, we begin to see the humanity in everyone. But compassion doesn't mean that we condone harmful behavior or allow others to take advantage of us. It's not about turning a blind eye to injustice or pretending that everything is okay when it's not. Compassion is not passive. It is not about being a doormat. Instead, it's about responding to others with kindness, but also with wisdom. It's about setting boundaries in a way that respects both ourselves and others. Compassion helps us understand when to act, when to speak up, and when to simply listen and offer a quiet presence. One of the most powerful ways to cultivate compassion is to see every interaction as an opportunity to practice. Think about the times you find yourself irritated with someone. Maybe it's a coworker, a family member, or even a stranger. Instead of reacting with anger or frustration, try to pause for a moment and ask yourself, what are they going through? You may not know their full story, but just by allowing yourself to feel empathy, you shift your perspective. You stop seeing them as an obstacle or a problem and start seeing them as a person who, just like you, is navigating the struggles of life. This shift in perspective can change everything. It can transform how you interact with others, how you approach difficult situations, and how you find peace within yourself. Compassion is not about fixing others or solving their problems. It's about being present with them in their pain and offering a listening ear or a kind word. It's about recognizing their humanity and treating them with dignity, no matter their flaws or mistakes. And the more we practice compassion, the more we realize that it doesn't deplete us, it replenishes us. In a world where it often feels like there's too much suffering and too little help, the act of showing compassion reminds us that we are part of a larger whole. We are not alone in our struggles. And when we offer kindness to others, we are reminded of the kindness that exists in the world, even in the darkest times. Compassion is not a one-time act. It is a practice, something we must nurture every day. Just like a plant needs water and sunlight to grow, compassion needs attention and care. It grows stronger the more we feed it, and it blossoms in ways we may not even fully understand. But the more we cultivate it, the more we see its effects in our lives, in our relationships, our mental well-being, and even in the way we view the world. And so, the next time you encounter someone who seems difficult, or when you feel yourself becoming frustrated with the world around you. Take a moment to soften your heart. Let compassion be your guide. In a world that often feels harsh and divided, compassion can be the bridge that connects us all. It is the balm for the wounds we carry and the light that leads us through the darkness. When we practice compassion, we begin to heal, not just ourselves, but the world around us. In the end, compassion is the true path to inner peace. It is the antidote to the fear, anger, and frustration that often cloud our minds. By practicing compassion, we not only help others, but we also transform ourselves. And in that transformation, we find peace. The peace that comes not from avoiding suffering, but from embracing it with a heart full of love and understanding. Gratitude as a grounding practice, finding joy in what is. Take a deep breath and imagine waking up to the sound of birds singing outside your window. You stretch, feeling the warmth of the morning sun on your face, and you realize, once again, that you are alive. In this very moment, life is a gift. But how often do we stop to appreciate that? In today's world, it's easy to get caught up in the whirlwind of what we don't have. We constantly think about what we need to achieve next, what we need to buy, or what's missing from our lives. We become so focused on what we lack that we forget to notice the simple, beautiful things right in front of us. Yet, Buddhism teaches us that true peace and joy come not from constantly searching for more, but from appreciating what already is. When was the last time you paused to appreciate something small but significant? Maybe it was the feeling of a warm cup of tea in your hands, the kindness of a stranger, or even just the quiet of your own home. These moments, though seemingly ordinary, are the foundation of gratitude. In Buddhist teachings, gratitude is not just a feeling, it's a practice. It's something we choose to cultivate every day. And through this practice, we begin to shift our focus away from what we don't have and toward what we do. Gratitude is like a muscle. The more you practice it, the stronger it becomes. It's easy to feel grateful when things are going well, when everything is in place and life is calm. But what about when things aren't going so perfectly? When we're facing challenges, when life is uncertain, that's when gratitude can truly change the course of our day. In the midst of struggle, finding something to be thankful for can help us shift our perspective, opening us up to a new way of seeing the world. It doesn't mean ignoring the difficulties we face, but rather acknowledging them while also recognizing the goodness that still exists around us. Think about the times when you faced hardship. How often has there been something, however small, that you could hold on to? A word of encouragement, a beautiful sunset, the love of family or friends. In these moments, gratitude doesn't erase the pain, but it helps us stay grounded, reminding us that even in our darkest moments, we are still connected to something greater than our struggles. One of the simplest ways to practice gratitude is through the act of giving thanks. It doesn't have to be elaborate or complicated. A simple thank you for the meal in front of you, for the health of your body, for the roof over your head. These small acts of acknowledgement can create a deep sense of peace. But it's not just about saying the words. It's about feeling them. When you truly appreciate something, your heart opens up, and you start to notice more of the good around you. Your life becomes richer, more fulfilling, and more connected to the world around you. Buddhism teaches that everything is interconnected. Each moment, each person, and each experience is a thread in the vast tapestry of life. When we practice gratitude, we begin to see this interconnectedness. We realize that nothing exists in isolation. The food on our table, the air we breathe, the love we receive, these things are not just random. They are gifts shared by others and part of a larger cycle of giving and receiving. In this way, gratitude becomes a practice of honoring our connections to the world and to each other. At its core, gratitude helps us remember what truly matters. We get so wrapped up in the noise of daily life, in the demands and expectations of work, family, and society, that we forget to appreciate the simple joys that are always present. It's easy to get lost in the rush of trying to do more, be more, and have more. But when we pause and notice the small things, the warmth of a hug, the sound of laughter, the beauty of a flower in bloom, we reconnect with what is truly important. Gratitude is also a practice that transforms our relationships with others. When we express gratitude, we acknowledge the value of the people in our lives. We let them know that we see them, we appreciate them, and we are grateful for their presence. This simple act of recognition can deepen our connections, bringing more love and compassion into our relationships. In a world that often feels divided, gratitude has the power to heal, to bridge gaps, and to create a sense of unity. There's also a deep sense of peace that comes with practicing gratitude. It's easy to feel overwhelmed by the challenges of life. We often focus on the things that are wrong, the problems we need to fix, and the goals we need to achieve. But when we practice gratitude, we shift our attention away from the negatives and towards the positives. We begin to realize that peace doesn't come from achieving more or acquiring more. It comes from appreciating what we already have. This doesn't mean that we should ignore our problems or become complacent. Gratitude isn't about pretending that everything is perfect. It's about recognizing that even in the midst of difficulty, there is always something to be thankful for. And in doing so, we find a deep well of inner peace that helps us navigate the chaos of the world with greater ease and grace. As you go about your day, try to find one thing, just one, to be thankful for. It could be something as simple as the smell of fresh coffee in the morning, the warmth of the sun on your skin, or the love of a friend. These small moments of gratitude can bring a sense of calm and joy into your life, helping you stay grounded in the present moment. The more you practice gratitude, the more you begin to see how much beauty surrounds you. It's not about waiting for the big, life-changing moments to feel grateful. It's about recognizing the goodness in the everyday, the ordinary moments that make life so rich and meaningful. Gratitude, in essence, is the practice of returning to the present. It helps us stop, look around, and realize that right now, in this very moment, we are surrounded by gifts. And when we learn to appreciate them, we find that peace isn't something we need to search for. It's something we already have, waiting to be discovered in the simple, quiet moments of life. So, take a moment today, right now, and reflect on what you're grateful for. It could be a person, a place, a memory, or even something as simple as the ability to breathe. Let that sense of gratitude fill your heart and carry it with you throughout your day. As you do, you'll begin to notice that the more you practice gratitude, the more peaceful and joyful your life becomes. And this is the power of gratitude, the power to transform your heart and mind, and to find inner peace in a world that often feels anything but peaceful. Remember, in Buddhism, peace isn't about escaping the world. It's about learning to live in it, with a heart full of gratitude for what is. And when you do this, you'll find that the world, despite its chaos, becomes a little more peaceful, a little more connected, and a lot more beautiful. Living with intention, aligning with purpose and peace. In the midst of our busy lives, it's easy to forget why we do what we do. We wake up, we work, we interact with others, and we move from task to task, yet somehow, we can feel lost in the process. We may start to wonder if what we're doing truly matters, if there's a deeper meaning behind our daily actions. It's a common experience, one that many people face as they grow older or as life becomes more overwhelming. But Buddhism offers us a way to look deeper, to live with intention, and to align our actions with a sense of purpose. Living with intention is about understanding that every moment is an opportunity to make a choice, to shape the course of our lives. It's easy to let life pass us by, to get caught in the tide of responsibilities and distractions. But when we choose to live with intention, we take a step back and ask ourselves, what is truly important? What do I want to create with my life? How can I contribute to the world in a way that brings peace to my heart and to those around me? This is where the teachings of Buddhism can be incredibly helpful. Buddhism teaches us that life is short and it's precious. Every day is a gift, and the way we spend our time matters. But it also reminds us that this doesn't mean we have to be constantly striving for more. Living with intention doesn't mean pushing ourselves endlessly to achieve bigger and better things. It's not about external success. It's about internal alignment with what truly matters to us, the things that bring us joy, peace, and fulfillment. For example, think about a moment in your life when you felt truly at peace. It might have been a quiet walk in nature, a heartfelt conversation with a loved one, or simply a moment of stillness in your own home. These moments of peace often come when we are fully present, when we are aligned with our values and our true purpose. When we live with intention, we make these moments more frequent. We choose to align our actions with our values, instead of letting life just happen to us. But what does it mean to live intentionally? It starts with mindfulness. It's the practice of being aware of our thoughts, actions, and emotions in the present moment, without judgment. Through mindfulness, we can begin to recognize when we are living in alignment with our deeper values and when we are not. This awareness is the first step in making meaningful changes. When we notice that we are caught up in distractions or chasing things that don't bring us true fulfillment, we can pause and ask ourselves, is this how I want to spend my time? Is this action contributing to the kind of life I want to live? This mindfulness also helps us to prioritize what matters most. Often, we become overwhelmed by a long list of things we think we have to do. But Buddhism teaches that we don't need to do everything. We only need to focus on what brings us peace, what aligns with our deeper sense of purpose. This might mean letting go of things that no longer serve us, habits, relationships, or tasks that drain our energy without adding value to our lives. When we let go of unnecessary burdens, we create space for the things that truly matter: love, kindness, compassion, and joy. Living with intention also means understanding the impermanence of life. In Buddhism, we are reminded that everything is temporary. Our joys, our struggles, our successes, and our failures. This awareness doesn't make life any less meaningful. In fact, it enhances it. When we recognize the fleeting nature of life, we are less likely to take it for granted. We begin to cherish each moment, to appreciate the small things, and to recognize the beauty in the present, rather than constantly chasing after an uncertain future. One of the most powerful ways to live with intention is by setting clear, meaningful goals that reflect our values. This doesn't mean setting rigid, unrealistic expectations for ourselves. Rather, it means being clear about what we truly want to achieve in life, whether it's nurturing a relationship, contributing to our community, or cultivating inner peace. Once we set these intentions, we can take small, mindful steps toward them each day. It's not about reaching a destination. It's about living in alignment with what we care about each and every day. Forgiveness is another crucial part of living with intention. Holding on to anger, resentment, or regret can weigh heavily on our hearts and minds. But when we choose to forgive, not just others, but also ourselves, we free ourselves from these burdens. Forgiveness is not about forgetting what has happened. It's about letting go of the negative emotions that keep us stuck in the past. It's about making room for peace, love, and compassion to flow into our hearts once again. Sometimes, living with intention also means embracing silence and solitude. In a world filled with noise and distractions, it's easy to lose touch with ourselves. We may feel disconnected from our inner voice, unsure of what we truly want or need. But when we take time for solitude, whether through meditation, quiet reflection, or simply being alone with our thoughts, we can reconnect with ourselves. Silence gives us the space to hear our hearts more clearly, to understand our true desires, and to find direction in our lives. When we live with intention, we also become more aware of the interconnectedness of all beings. In Buddhism, this is a central teaching, the idea that everything is connected, that our actions have an impact on others. Living intentionally means recognizing this interconnectedness and making choices that support not only our own well-being, but the well-being of others as well. When we act with kindness, compassion, and wisdom, we create ripples of peace that extend beyond ourselves. Living with intention doesn't mean we have to be perfect. It means we approach life with a sense of awareness, mindfulness, and kindness. It means we recognize that we are human, that we will make mistakes, but that we can always choose to begin again. Each day is an opportunity to realign with our deeper values and to live in a way that brings us peace and fulfillment. In the end, living with intention is about choosing to live a life that truly matters, one that is grounded in purpose, peace, and love. It's about letting go of the distractions and the noise that pull us away from what is most important. It's about making conscious, mindful choices that align with our true selves. And when we do this, we create a life that feels whole, meaningful, and deeply connected to the world around us. So, as you move through your daily life, ask yourself, are you living with intention? Are your actions aligned with your deepest values? If not, what small steps can you take today to bring your life back into alignment with your true purpose? Remember, every moment is an opportunity to choose peace, to choose love, and to choose a life that is in harmony with what matters most. The journey continues, weaving wisdom into daily life. As we reach the final part of our journey together, it's important to remember that this is not an end but a continuation. The path to inner peace, as we've discussed throughout this series, is a lifelong practice. The principles of Buddhism, mindfulness, compassion, gratitude, and living with purpose, are not meant to be learned and then set aside. They are meant to be woven into the fabric of our everyday lives, like threads that bind us to a deeper, more peaceful way of being. You've learned about mindfulness, meditation, and how to cultivate compassion, but what happens after the teachings are shared? After the wisdom is heard? How do we live this knowledge? It's easy to listen to beautiful words and think, that sounds great. But the true transformation happens when we put those words into action in the small moments of our day. Picture this. You wake up in the morning. The sun is just beginning to rise, and you have a moment of peace before the rush of the day begins. This is the perfect opportunity to set your intentions. What do you want your day to look like? What kind of energy do you want to bring to the people you interact with? By practicing mindfulness at this early hour, you're creating a foundation of peace that will carry you through the rest of your day. Throughout the day, life will present challenges. Your phone will ring, emails will pile up, and people will need your attention. The world will continue to pull at you, just as it always has. But now, you have the tools to respond with wisdom. When things get hectic, take a breath. Remind yourself of the mindfulness practice you've worked on. Remember that you have the ability to choose how you respond. In that moment, you can decide to react with anger or frustration, or you can pause and choose compassion, patience, or understanding. The beauty of Buddhism is that it doesn't ask you to be perfect. It doesn't demand that you rid yourself of all negative emotions. Instead, it encourages you to become aware of those emotions, to acknowledge them, and then to choose a response that aligns with peace. The more you practice this, the more natural it becomes. As the day winds down, take a moment to reflect. What went well today? What could you have done differently? This reflection isn't about judgment, but about growth. Buddhism teaches us that life is a constant cycle of birth and death, of beginnings and endings. Every moment is an opportunity to start fresh, to let go of what no longer serves you, and to embrace a new way of being. If something happened today that upset you, it's okay. Let it go. Holding on to anger or resentment only creates suffering for yourself. When you make the conscious choice to release those negative feelings, you free yourself. Think of your mind as a garden. If you fill it with weeds, anger, bitterness, regret, the beauty of the flowers can't grow. But when you let go of those weeds, you create space for the seeds of peace, love, and compassion to bloom. One of the most powerful practices you can incorporate into your life is the act of gratitude. Every evening, as you prepare to rest, take a moment to reflect on what you are thankful for. It could be something as simple as the warmth of your bed or the kindness of a friend. Gratitude has the power to shift our perspective from what we don't have to what we do have. It helps us to see the abundance in our lives, even in difficult times. As you reflect on the day, consider the people you interacted with. Did you treat them with kindness? Did you approach them with a sense of compassion? Remember, compassion is not just about being kind to others, but also to yourself. Be gentle with yourself when you make mistakes. Understand that you are doing the best you can, and that is enough. It's important to remember that the path to peace isn't always a straight line. There will be days when you feel on top of the world, and there will be days when you feel overwhelmed by the chaos. But the key is to keep going. Keep practicing. Every small step, every small moment of awareness adds up. The more you practice, the easier it becomes to bring peace into your life, no matter what's going on around you. There will be times when you forget to be mindful. There will be times when you react in ways that don't align with the wisdom you've learned. And that's okay. The goal isn't to never make mistakes, but to recognize when we've strayed from the path and gently bring ourselves back. Remember, the Buddha didn't become enlightened overnight. It was a long journey of trial and error, of learning and unlearning, of embracing both the light and the dark parts of himself. As you move forward, remember that you are not alone on this journey. Each of us is walking this path, and we are all connected by our shared humanity. Every time you practice mindfulness or show compassion, you contribute to the collective peace of the world. The more we practice these teachings, the more they ripple out to those around us. So, as you continue to walk the path of inner peace, know that you have the tools you need to live a life of harmony. Your practice may not always look perfect, but that's not the goal. The goal is to live authentically, to bring your true self to each moment, and to contribute to the world with love and kindness. The journey of peace doesn't end here. It continues every day, with every breath and every action. Every moment is an opportunity to weave the wisdom of Buddhism into your life, to transform chaos into calm, and to cultivate a deep, abiding peace that radiates outward. So, take a deep breath and know that you are on the right path. Trust yourself. Trust the journey. And remember, each day is a new opportunity to continue walking this path towards inner peace.